criticism of diesels of late, basically things like NOx and soot emissions or particulate matter, basically soot to you and me, and other emissions as well. Obviously, a lot of government-funded and environmentally funded reports slam the diesels, and as a result, directly of VW's Dieselgate scandal.
Yeah, there's been a lot of wild figures on there.
There has, but there's been a set of independent reports that are now coming out, and it was especially prompted by a Greenpeace poster, which basically said 75% of all emissions are caused by diesel cars. Which, if you actually do the math, doesn't add up, and that particular post has been withdrawn. Right. But the thing is, one of the things that's been noted in a lot of these independent research projects is at 20 miles an hour and below, like stationary traffic and things like that, petrol cars actually emit more particulate matter than diesel. So things like NOx is getting through. So in actual fact, it turns out, in 20 mile an hour or below, petrol is actually more polluting than diesel. So it just goes to show that this whole argument on car pollution isn't as simple as it's been made out of it.
It's very surprising that, because I've always been a petrol lover of any cars I've had, from high powered to normal runarounds and anything, and I once chanced my arm at a diesel. I got a 2 litre brand new Mondeo diesel, and I got it mainly because I thought the fuel consumption would be very good. It was better, but it wasn't as massive as I thought the difference would be. But now I'm surprised to hear that I probably was running around in a much cleaner car.
Yeah, because if you're spending a lot of your time in slow situations, you probably were.
I probably was in a much cleaner car than, let's say, me, as an example, me LRST.
Yeah.
At slow speeds and such.
I mean, it obviously won't be as clean as the EcoSport.
No.
But even then, the EcoSport with a similar sized diesel would actually be producing more particulate matter and NOx at slow speeds than the equivalent diesel.
It is a strange thing, and I think a lot of people won't realise it. I certainly didn't realise any of this.
I didn't.
I always think of diesels from the old.
Yeah. Well,
and
you basically follow the clamour of black.
I think I'm a bit prejudiced where diesels go, which is why I did chance me arm with that Mondeo diesel. I think it was a bit more of a trial and exercise. Don't get me wrong, the car was a lovely car. Drove home. You wouldn't have known you were in a diesel. Yeah. You'd have never known you were in a diesel.
It's that road,
yeah. So I am surprised to hear this, but it is actually a good thing to know, maybe for people for future buys actually.
Does it bring into question hybrids?
I suppose it can.
Because in a car where the engine's the part of the drivetrain, like the i8 we looked at, and quite a few different hybrids, then the engine's being used at its optimum. So it's always going to be more efficient and it's going to be a bit cleaner. But where you're using your engine as basically a power station, and I'm looking directly at Toyota Prius and the BMW i3, where the engine's basically a separate commodity that keeps the battery charged, it's not actually attached to the drive wheels, then particulate matter and NOx can very well be quite polluting.
I can see that being a big issue there.
And this has never been really properly looked at until recently.
I think they've been a bit slap happy earlier on, haven't they, with all this? And I think it's only just all even coming to light and they're getting their info. I think it needs addressing a bit more with the car companies, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think they need to tighten the reins and have a look at this, really.
But it also brings into question what's a hybrid. Basically, a hybrid is a fossil fuel electric vehicle.
They could blow some theories out of the water, this.
Yeah, and it depends on your engine could be a simple battery charger, or it could be part of the drivetrain. And that's technically classed as an electric, which is another thing that we're coming up, which is another thing I want to come on to.
One word, hydrogen. The clarity.
Yes, hydrogen.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah. But also the government's 2040 deadline for petrol and diesel engines.
Yes.
Now, when you first heard about that, how did that come across to you?
Do you know, I once saw just a little article popped up on Facebook saying so-and-so, cars of so-and-so description, blah, 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 by the year, this and that. And I thought, come on, hang on a minute, you'll never achieve it. That's what struck first. I thought, you won't achieve that.
It was a nice headline-grabbing image, wasn't it?
It was certainly grabbing, yeah.
What it basically means is any car that does not have an electric component in the drivetrain will become illegal. So going on to the current BMW range, the current VW range, apart from the Golf E.
The Golf GTE.
Yeah, Golf GTE, that's it. Those would be illegal to sell brand new if they came out in 2040. However, if you were to stick an electric motor in there, a la the i8, the GTE, things like that, where the electric motor is part of the drivetrain, then that car is legal to sell and produce. So you've not got rid of petrol. So if you have a petrol or a diesel hybrid, at that point, it's still legal to sell and it's not going to be all electric.
No, it's an awkward thing that's going to be very hard to police, isn't it? And I don't think they'll be able to achieve this right.
No.
I don't.
I mean, Uber's recently announced they're going to buy Volvo self-driving cars, and Volvo have said they're going to be all electric with all their new cars as of next year. However, all electric has a different meaning because you could technically class hybrids under that.
You could.
So you're not necessarily going to get Teslas.
And I like Teslas. But saying that, there's just one frightening word that popped up out of that. Driverless.
Yeah.
I do not like the sound of being in a car that's driverless. I like to be the squidgy organism that's behind the controls with a steering wheel and that.
But sometimes that's a component that needs to be replaced in a car.
Yes, true. True, don't get me wrong, you can have a massive smash in a car that's only capable of 60 miles an hour up to one that can do 200 and odd, and it's the person behind the wheel that caused the accident, not the car. But I'd still always want to be in control.
Or have the option of being in control.
Or at least the option. To be in a car that says driverless and you have no control over it, you're just there along for the ride. Well, it also takes away your driving experience. I think it's a pointless thing. You may as well just get on a bus. I'm sorry, but to me it is. A bus is driverless to me. You're not doing nothing, you just sat there. So that's my view on that. I really dread the day where they say they're all going to be driverless or controlled by whatever, and you just sit there. It'll be a sad day, that.
What about the Tesla truck?
I've not heard much about this Tesla truck. I really haven't. Sketchy with me about this. I can't imagine again a truck that's going to be all like electric and all that. It's just going to be driverless. It's something again that it's not just people, it's carrying cargo as well.
Yeah.
And something like that trundling along down the road weighing X amount of tons that could be in an accident if something goes wrong. Who do you blame? Police turn up and all, we're going to fault at the accident when this truck ploughed into a shop or another bus or whatever because someone who behind the wheel. It's frightening, and I think it's straying into the terms of, I don't know, heading into AI, isn't it? Artificial intelligence, isn't it? You're one step away from, I don't know, the next minute's going to be Terminator and Skynet. And we'll all be driving around in bubble cars that we don't drive. It's frightening.